I started with Deon when I was 16, actually. So I'm 24 now. But I wouldn't have the discipline then, or just like really stay with it, because it is a sport that it requires a little discipline and a little bit of follow through. But then I'm trying to remember the year 2023, I got a really abusive relationship. I was with that partner for a couple months. He turned out to be really abusive, and I didn't want to be a victim anymore. So this gym had opened up. It was always full of people. So I walked in, and I remember my first day. Actually, I walked in, and there was big guys, tank top, cutoffs, giant muscles. I was like, what am I doing here? And I walked in. I went up to Deon, and I said, I want to box. He's like, do you know how to jump rope? I was like, not since I was a kid, but all right, I'll figure it out for you, And I started out just coming in a couple days a week, just trying to get my health back. I literally came here a week out of the hospital, just trying to build my self-worth back up and not be afraid anymore, not be afraid of men, not be afraid of just in general of life. I turned out to just really love it. The guys I was with these two fighters, Colton and Omar, and they were the first guys that I wasn't afraid of, ever. Mm-hmm. And, Deon, and they were also great. Like, I was getting my restraining order, and they were like, we'll show up at the court. We'll be there for you. Like, this is a family. The minute you walk in, there's a family. And they started getting me into sparring. I remember the first time that a guy sparred me too hard. Colton got in there and was like, hit someone your own size. So they kept me safe. It's always been a safe, protective environment here, very uplifting here. Mm-hmm. And they just give me the courage to, try again. And I just fell in love with the sport. And with the guys, they kind of pushed me to fight, because they saw a little bit of that fire come back. Or sometimes it took a little bit of time, but saw some of that fire come back, so then I got into fighting. The idea of allowing another man to punch me in the face was quite the decision to make as a young woman, right? I was just like this little girl, right? So to get in the ring with another grown man and be like, okay, I'm gonna hit this man back now, and I wanna know how to defend myself, and I can do this. Because before, I did not think I could ever possibly stand toe-to-toe with any other person. It didn't matter if I could be a little 8-year-old kid. I didn't think I was going to stand toe-to-toe with nobody. I didn't have that confidence and that conviction in my heart to be able to do that. So standing in the ring for the very first time in front of another person was definitely, I think actually the most difficult decision was to get back in there again. Like, after the first time, you're like, because your first time's terrible. Your first time's absolutely awful. You're kind of flailing around, because you don't know. There's your stages, right? You have your shadow boxing, and then you have a bag, then you have mitts, and then you have real people hitting you. Mm-hmm. So as an abuse survivor, it's just different because you already have that layer of trauma on top of it. So it took a long time for me not to see him, right? And to see my opponent, and to see that I was safe. Because if I don't want to do it, if it's too, because for me, I'm kind of a different case, right? I'm a kid, a teenage boy coming off the street saying, I want to learn how to fight because I want to be tough. Or I'm not trying to just lose weight. I was trying to find my soul again, honestly, my heart. And so sometimes it gets a little hard. I have to stop. Right? Even if I'm trained to fight, even if it's supposed to be the greatest camp of my life, coach gives me the space to grow in my own pace. I have a shirt that says "Boxing saved my life." Actually, that should be the motto of my life. Boxing saved my life. I would not be here if not for Deon and Christy. Like, they absolutely saved my life, and my fire, and my soul. They saved me, because again, with the team, they taught me not to fear. I'm not a scared little girl anymore. I'm finishing law. I was abused my first semester of law school. I'm graduating law school in a month. They've been here through every hard thing, every finals week and everything. But with my team, they've always been so. Even the new guys. So I've been here 2.5 years. Some of those guys are gone. We got some new kids. Everyone that comes in here is a respectful teammate. The minute you come in here, you're family, or you don't last. We have some guys that they can't stay because they can't be respectful. But the guys here, they they invigorate that that safety and passion in me, and they always work with me. So I'm like, hey, we're not gonna hard spar, like you're 200 pounds, and 6 foot tall, so you can calm down. Like I just want to learn some technique and everything. And in terms of coaching Christy, oh my gosh, Coach has picked me up off the ground. Like when I was having, especially in the beginning. Like I remember the first time I hard sparred, it invoked that traumatic response in me. I went to the bathroom, just my little hiding space here, and fell to the floor crying, full panic. And he knocked on the door, and I didn't say anything, so he rushed in, and I was on the floor, and he shut the door real fast, sat down, and he picked me up, grabbed me, and said that you're safe here. You don't have to be afraid. Like you're safe here, and that was probably one of the most pivotal, biggest moments of my life in that time, because I didn't know where I was safe anymore. Like I was followed home to my own home, I was followed to school, but I've always been safe in this gym. And with Christy, she's invited me into her home and into her family. I'm an officiant. I married Deon and Christy. So they've always just made me, both of them, they're kind of like my second set of parents, Deon and Christy. I feel like I'm their unofficial daughter from how open they've been with me and how willing they are to just push me forward. Coach sees a fighter in me that I didn't see, that I didn't know I had, and Christy also does. They've just been so motivating. So their influence has been so pivotal for my growth as a person and as a fighter. You don't have to be afraid. There's always somebody. I didn't get any legal justice, so I had to get justice in a ring. That was the only place I was going to get it. You don't have to be afraid. I was when I left or escaped, essentially, I was a frail, little weak thing. I could barely stand when I was here. You could ask Coach; he would make fun of me. That's how we handle things here, is with humor and love and light. And you don't have to stay in that dark space. You're never trapped. You're never trapped anywhere. You can fight your way out. I can fight my way out of a corner. I can fight my way out of a studio apartment. Like there's always a place for you. And as long as you're fighting from a place of love, and you're fighting in order to either for love for yourself or love for your family, then you got a way out. There's always a way out. And for me, that was here. This is my safe space.